This show is brought to you by the Genesis Communications Network, a world leader in talk radio since 1998. Visit gcnlive.com today.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
I'm not a crook.
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire.
You're listening to Jim Paris Live, your source for the latest news on money, politics, prophecy, and preparedness. And now your host, the editor-in-chief of ChristianMoney.com and the author of more than 30 books, Jim Paris.
All right, good evening and welcome to the broadcast. Hour number 2 here, Jim Paris Live. We are live on Sunday nights. I'm so excited to have in our guest hour this week a new friend of mine. I met him in person about 6 weeks ago, although I've been corresponding with him by email for maybe about a year because I bought one of his courses on stretching. He's got a course on how you can learn to do the splits, and I'm still working on that. It's a great video. If you subscribe to Black Belt Magazine, you'll probably see the ad, and you probably recognize his name when I mention it. His name is Kevin Hurricane Hudson, and he has a great new book out called You Can Hit the Mark, Discover How Persistence Overcomes Natural Talent. And Kevin Hudson, welcome to Jim Paris Live.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for having me, man. Glad
Hey.
to be here.
I don't want to make you jealous because I gave your brother a great introduction last week, so I'll do the same thing. Let's get ready to rumble. Here he is, Kevin Hurricane Hudson.
Hey, that sounded good. You know, I'm used to that. That's very good.
Yeah, and to tell people a little bit about you, first of all, let me tell you, this is just a really nice guy. I mean, it's almost like, I have to tell you, put it in these terms, it's like Bruce Lee meets Andy Griffin. is like how I would describe you, because I came to your school about 6 weeks ago to train with Bill Wallace, and right away you're almost like a pastor. You're like standing there in the foyer and you see me and your face lights up and you welcome me into your training facility, and you know, it's just such a wonderful place there where you live in Greenville, South Carolina. I mean, I have to tell you, I grew up in Chicago, and I just feel a little bit awkward, like when people talk to me too much or like hold doors open for me. And I just felt out of place in the sense that people are just so nice. I remember I stopped on the highway to get something to eat. Now, I forget what I had, a hot dog or something, and I couldn't get the ketchup to work. And somebody came up and said, "Are you having trouble with that? Let me help you." And it wasn't someone that worked there. It was just another person. Then somebody saw I was holding something, you know, to eat, so they held the door for me so I could get out of the gas station. I mean, I just felt awkward, like, wow, people can't be this nice in real life. This is just,
you know, being in the South, you know, it's Southern hospitality, man. It's good
yeah.
stuff.
So you're in Greenville, South Carolina, and to tell people a little bit about you, 2-time champion in the cruiserweight division as a kickboxer, which for people not familiar with kickboxing, that would be maybe what we might call light heavyweight. Is that right?
Yeah, it's close. Cruiserweight was actually invented later in boxing because the heavyweight started at 200 pounds back in the 50s and 60s, and then they realized that the big guys and guys that were 185 pounds, you know, it was hard to compete with a 260-pound man. So they put a cruiserweight in there, and in kickboxing, cruiserweight stopped at 189. So I fought, I actually won a world title at 189, and then I went up to heavyweight and won a world title at heavyweight, and then kind of took a hiatus and came back and won a U.S. heavyweight title at 215. And
wow.
over 215 is super heavy in kickboxing. And so that was kind of my road to, you know, winning the world titles.
And you are a 7th degree black belt under the Joe Louis fighting system. You actually trained with Joe Louis. I have to tell you, that's an amazing thing right there. Tell us about the first time you met Joe Louis and your history with Joe Louis. And for people that don't know who Joe Louis is, shame on you. Really, probably the biggest name in all of martial arts. I know we talk about Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris and Bill Wallace, but really the guy that you might say would be the most natural fighter that ever lived in the martial arts and karate in particular would be Joe Louis, who was your teacher. So tell us a little bit about how you met him and your history with Joe Louis.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Mr. Louis was the most amazing man you would ever meet. I mean, as far as a martial artist, he was like a walking encyclopedia. If you get on Google and type in Joe, Lewis, not the Brown Bomber, but Lewis, this guy trained with Bruce Lee, and he was quite an amazing man. He fought in Vietnam. He went from Vietnam to Okinawa, got his black belt in 8 months in Okinawa, and then he came to California, started competing and winning every tournament he entered. And in fact, Bruce Lee saw him win a U.S. title, I think it was in 1968, and Bruce wanted to train him and wanted to work with him, but Mr. Louis kind of ignored Bruce Lee. He was wondering what a 135-pound Chinese man could teach him. So he kind of ignored him, and we just kind of shunned him. And Bruce actually kept chasing him and asking him, say, hey, I want to teach you some things. And finally, they became best buddies and started working together once a week. And after about a year, he started working with Bruce Lee, and Joe Louis started working together, 2 to 4 times a week for several hours a day, and they became really good friends. And so as far as me meeting Joe, in 1997, I fought for my second world championship in New Haven, Connecticut. And I was connecting at a flight in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I looked up, and there come Joe Louis walking down the tarmac. And he and I met there, and the team flew to Connecticut, and we spent a week together in 1997 because Joe Louis was a special guest at this event I was fighting at. I was the main event. Mr. Louis was the star. He was the attraction. And they also had Sergeant Slaughter there, too. So if you know about wrestling, Sergeant Slaughter
right. My son used to watch that. Yeah.
Sergeant Slaughter was pretty cool, too. But Mr. Louis did an exhibition that night, and I won my fight, and it was really a rough match that I fought that night. I fought, and I got knocked down in the first round. And, Jim, I tell you, one of my corner men said, Kevin, you couldn't have been hit any harder if you'd have been in a chair with your hands tied behind your back. And so I got hit really hard. I rolled over, I recovered, I got myself back up, ended up winning a majority decision that night, winning a second world championship. And Mr. Louis, in the van ride back to the hotel and to the place we were staying, he came up and he said, you did good tonight. And then the next day, he started analyzing my whole bout and telling me everything I did wrong that whole bout. And it was like he had a photographic memory of what I did, and it was amazing. And from then on, we started training together pretty frequently. He would call me on the phone quite frequently when we didn't see each other, and ask about certain things, and we'd chat. And I tell you, he was a great man. I was really fortunate to work with such a high-level martial artist who I'd seen growing up as a kid. I used to watch him on TV and in movies, and just idolized him. And so it was really, really a unique experience to be with him and be able to be closely related to him in a sense. He was my friend, and I miss him. He passed in 2012, and he had a huge impact on a lot of people. And so he's got a great organization that's still alive and still going, and I'm actually on the board of directors of the Joe Louis Fighting System organization. So I'm honored to be able to do that and help perpetuate Mr. Lewis's legend.
And this is a great book. These are the kind of stories, the anecdotes that you'll see throughout the book. And we're going to get into this. We've got the whole hour tonight. I love the subtitle, though, because I've said this so many times. Discover how persistence overcomes natural talent. And if you're listening tonight and there's something you have a real passion for, but maybe you're not the most talented guy or gal in the room when you go, whether it's playing a musical instrument or some athletic thing that you want to do. I'll tell you what, I've been like that most of my life. I was never like naturally the best, but I was able to work hard and overcome that and become the best in a lot of different areas. And we're going to talk about that lesson tonight in the book, you can hit the mark. Our guest for the hour, Kevin Hurricane Hudson. We will be right back. Hello, everybody. This is radio talk show host Jim Paris for FreeSurvivalGifts.com. If you're a survival buff like me and like to try out the latest survival gear and gadgets, then you're going to absolutely love FreeSurvivalGifts.com. At FreeSurvivalGifts.com, you will find a wide array of survival gear, books, and videos that are all 100% free. That's right, just pay your own shipping. Now, I know you're asking, why is all of this survival gear free? Well, the companies offering this gear are doing so as a way to promote their brand and introduce new products. Check it out today, FreeSurvivalGifts.com. Pick up one or more free survival items for you and your family. That website again is FreeSurvivalGifts.com. Check it out, FreeSurvivalGifts.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
You haven't experienced yogurt until you've tried a Mossy, embodying health and flavor in a true whole milk, green-fed dairy beverage. Every sip pays homage to our old world cows and the ancient culturing methods their milk benefits from. With over 30 probiotics, a Mossy's undeniably nutritious, refined, cultured sensation bolsters your health and awakens your passion for dairy. A Mossy's so good, and you need to try it. Contact your Youngevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, the Mineral Doctor. You've heard me talk about 90 for Life for years. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 2 fatty acids. You may not know this, that I've actually designed Arthrodex for animals. That's right. Your pets need 90 for Life too. Get this essential pet product by calling 877-279-9422. That's 877-279-9422. Again, 877-279-9422.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
You're listening to Jim Paris Live.
And one of the things I like about it, it's not a book that it's going to take you like 6 months to read. I really, I admire people that I see walking around with these big books that you could almost use as like a self-defense weapon. They're so big. But, for me, I can't read books that are 800-900 pages long. I just skim them. I don't read them. This is a book. It's about the same length as my as my book, my most recent book, How to Pray for a Financial Miracle. This book is about 170 pages in length. If you go to Amazon, you're going to find it. If you type in "You Can Hit the Mark," you'll find it on Amazon. And I just checked, it has a 4.7 rating out of 5 stars. So the people really like this book, and there's some great information here on not just improving your health, business, finances, your family life, your spiritual walk. And Kevin is a Christian. I wanted to talk a little bit about your Christian life, Kevin. Kevin Hurricane Hudson is our guest this hour if you're just tuning in. Looking here at the back cover of your book, it says not only are you a member of your local church there, Poplar Springs Baptist, you're also a Sunday school teacher and you're a deacon. And you use your martial arts even to be able to open doors to go on mission trips. Tell us a little bit about your Christian walk and how long you've been a believer.
Oh, yes, sir. Absolutely. Well, when I was a teenager, I used to go to a Methodist church, and then a gentleman came to be the pastor of the Methodist church. His name was Preacher John Griffith, and he was quite an individual. He and I really hit it off. He actually led me to the Lord and got me on the right track and made me understand that there was a void that I needed to fill, and it was Jesus Christ. And Preacher John was an athletic individual. He actually married my wife and I in 1994. So he's gone on to be with the Lord now, but he was a great man, and he kind of got me on the right track. And, this book was actually a product of me going through life and understanding that even though sometimes I didn't acknowledge God when I should have, or maybe follow his tenets exactly the way I should, he still protected me and he still loved me. And even though we're all Christians, we all make mistakes, we all fall by the wayside, and we fall short. But if we keep pushing forward and just try to stay as straight as we can, and obviously stay in the Word and listen to him, we're going to be okay. And that's kind of what this book is about. This book's about me getting beat up, but me winning some too. So it was a lot of fun for me to write, and it kind of was a culmination of an entire life of training and learning to be, the Christian that I am today.
Well, my first career was that of a professional trumpet player. And I love playing the trumpet, and that's how I met my wife. And when I went to college, I was a music major studying trumpet. Trumpet performance was my major. And when I went into high school, I thought I was going to do really well. And so I go in, and there was 16 trumpets in the marching band, and we all had to audition to be put in your proper seat. So you would be seated based on how well that you did and what the director thought of you. So out of the 16 trumpets, Kevin, they put me at 13. I was down there with the kids that forgot to bring their trumpet in every day, and the kids that the kids that really just had no interest. And here I was, this super passionate guy about the trumpet, and I'm sitting down there in the losers section of the trumpets, down at number 13. And I just decided that was not for me. I couldn't do that. I couldn't be sitting down there. So I got a job, a part-time job, and I started paying for trumpet lessons from a private instructor. I would go every Monday for 30 minutes. My mother would drive me because I was still, too young to have a driver's license or have a car. Right. So my mother would drive me. And so the second year of high school came, and a week before school, we all go in for auditions. I come out of the auditions, out of all the trumpets, I'm number 2.
All right.
And it was so controversial. I had kids threatening to beat me up. There were parents calling in, trying to get the band director fired. Somehow I had paid off the band director or had done something. It was a really big deal that I was able to get up to number 2, and then I got up to number 1 when I was a junior and never looked back, and ended up playing number 1 in college, and also touring professionally as number 1 chair in the bands I played in. But it wasn't because I was the most naturally talented guy. It wasn't. And I tell my kids this. I tell my own students at the martial arts school, people that come to my financial seminars, tell us about the subtitle of this book, the book is titled "You Can Hit the Mark" for people that want to go get this, but the subtitle, "How Persistence Overcomes Natural Talent," because so many times, what are the odds that you're the guy that just naturally is the best one at something, but you can overcome that, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, just like you with your trumpet, you found something you were passionate about, and you didn't like being number 13. And you took action to fix that. And that's kind of like me. As a child, when I started martial arts training in 1979, I was the first kid my instructor let train. And, the first words he ever really said to me was 5 years after I started training. He looked at me and said, "I didn't think you'd still be here." And so I wasn't naturally gifted. But luckily, for some reason, I had a work ethic that made me push myself, and I enjoyed the structure and the training of the martial arts, and I just stuck with it. And I'll be honest with you, Jim, I outlasted a lot of people. And, in fighting, it's the same way. If you're in shape and you got a chin like a trailer hitch, a lot of times you can outlast the other person. And, I was just passionate about my goals. At 8 years old, I started training. At 9, I got my first degree black belt, March 5th, 1981. And then at 13, I saw kickboxing on TV. Bad Brad Hefton. You remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
He was like a hero, him and Jean-Yves Thériault, a lot of those guys. And, I said, man, I want to do that. And so I started doing everything I could to do that. And I sparred everybody I could spar. And, I wasn't that naturally gifted, but I had a work ethic that wouldn't quit. And I didn't give up ever. No matter what happened, I just pushed through. And, you had my brother on last week, my brother Shannon Cannon. He is a gifted athlete. And he just seemed to pick it up. When he was born, I was doing karate. So he got to watch it from day one. So, to me, he was more gifted than I was. But I was always a little more hard-headed, and, I could just push through. And a lot of times, people that are gifted inherently sometimes struggle with the work ethic side. Now,
and I was gonna ask you about that. Isn't sometimes the naturally talented person, isn't that a curse? I mean, like I found in my music career, sometimes the most talented musician was the guy, he couldn't show up on time. He was drunk. He was, not practicing because he was assuming he could just play it perfect without any preparation, and it didn't work out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, I've been teaching martial arts I've had a school for 25 years. In January, it'll be 25 years that I've owned the martial arts school. And my brother and I taught karate for years together, but there was a pattern. People that come in that are inherently gifted by God, sometimes their gifts, they thought it was enough to get them through the day, but at the end of the day...
Yeah, and sometimes those people are running a sprint and not a marathon, and they're not there for the long run. Absolutely. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking more about this book. Great book, You Can Hit the Mark. We'll be right back.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 Pain Relief Hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. you can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 pain hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Did you know a dirty CPAP system can make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, you might not sleep so well. But now, SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It kills 99.9% of all CPAP germs, and it's completely hands-free. For a limited time, you can try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-941-9796.
SoClean changed the CPAP experience for the better. My health has improved. It's simple to use, and I'm not worried about infections.
SoClean destroys CPAP bacteria, viruses, and germs, and it eliminates the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. There's no water, chemicals, or disassembly. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto, your CPAP system is clean and fresh in minutes. Call SoClean.com to try it risk-free at home for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer only available by calling 1-800-941-9796. That's 1-800-941-9796.
You are listening to Jim Paris Live.
This is such a fantastic book. I can't put it down. There's some great pictures in this book also. If you're someone interested in fighting, boxing, kickboxing, the martial arts, you're going to like the book. But even if you're not someone that has that interest, it's still a great metaphor for all the stories and lessons that you're going to get from this book. Again, you can get it on Amazon. It's available as a paperback, or you can get it for Kindle. You can hit the mark, discover how persistence overcomes natural talent. Our guest is Kevin Hurricane Hudson. And Kevin, one of the things I wanted to get to in here, oh, by the way, what's the best website we can give people for you? I know you have several websites, splitsin90days.com, kevinhurricanehudson.com. Are those the two best ones, or do you want to give out any others?
No, those are the best ones, probably kevinhurricanehudson.com, and splitsin90days.com is good as well. So either one of those work fine.
All right. Now, I'm reading your book, and all of a sudden, the name Don King comes up. Tell us about, were you, did I understand this right, that you actually, did you get into just boxing part of this and not kickboxing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, after I won the world championship kickboxing, I thought, maybe all the, if you remember in 1994, UFC and NHB fighting, no holds barred fighting was really starting to take off. So it was just kind of hitting the scene. So kickboxing, full contact kickboxing, was kind of going down somewhat. The sport had a little bit of disorganization, or I should say maybe a lot of disorganization. So it wasn't very organized. So I said, well, let's go into boxing a little bit. I need to work on my hands anyway. So let's go into boxing, and the money's a little better in boxing. You get more activity, you can fight more times, that kind of thing. And I actually kind of got hooked up with a manager who, I'll be honest with you, just didn't treat me right. In boxing, the goal is to build a good record and then get a big fight. they call it a money fight. Once you got a good record, you got maybe 10-0, 12-0, then they'll put you against somebody that's really a top-notch fighter for a good substantial amount
And
of
then
money.
you can cash in maybe with that one fight, right?
Yeah, so you get a pretty good payday. In fact, I knew a manager who had a heavyweight who got him to about 40-0, and he was about knocking on Rocky Marciano's record of 44-0. But he was fighting, tomato cans. I remember the guy well, and I actually did rounds with him, and he was okay, but he wasn't no killer by no means. He wasn't a Marciano, but what they were trying to do is to build this guy up in order to get him a good money fight so they could cash in. And so I ended up getting hooked up with a manager who had that kind of philosophy, and me kind of gullible, go along with thinking everybody's going to treat you right like everybody has. This guy just kind of threw me to the dogs, and I ended up getting a few fights under my belt, just boxing. And then he had me up in Atlantic City. I got to fight on the Lennox Lewis, Andrew Galata undercard. So I got to fight there. There were some awesome fighters there. Troy Dorsey fought that night, who was a kickboxer as well. He and I kind of hit it off. But I fought a guy that I thought was like 4-0, which I think was 2-0 or 3-0 at the time. Turned out he was a German Olympian. And so he had 300-plus amateur fights, and he had, I think, 10 or 12 professional fights at the time. So I was kind of fed one story, but when I got there, it was another. And, of course, I don't back out. Once I'm there, I'm in. So I fought, ended up doing a 4-rounder with this guy on the Lennox Lewis Galata undercard. And the fourth round, I got my nose broke. And, Jim, you may have had your nose broke. I hope you haven't. But when you break your nose.
Nope, close, but never broken.
Well, try to work on your defense because we don't want you to have your nose broken. So what had happened when it started, when it got broken in the fourth round, I had about a minute left in the fourth round, and it was just bleeding so bad. It was like someone had turned on the faucet. The referee stopped the fight, which was good. And then I had to drive home from Atlantic City, New Jersey with a broken nose. And so at the end of the day, I ended up with an orbital fracture under my right eye and a broke nose at the same time, which is one of the worst things you could ever have. It wasn't fun at all. And so that didn't put an end to my sparring and fighting, but it put a brief damper on it while I healed up.
Yeah, and of course, the fighting style, for those people that want to take a look at some of your fights, if you go to YouTube and type in Kevin Hurricane Hudson, I notice that you had emailed me earlier in the week that you're starting to do a little bit more with YouTube. So I'm seeing, I did see a few months ago, I think 1 or 2 of your fights up there, but now there's several of your fights up there. And the way that you fought, your trademark was that sticking that side kick out there. And you're a big man. How tall are you, Kevin?
Well, I'm 6'2".
You're 6'2". So the reach with that side kick, probably in your kickboxing days, you could keep people back far enough. You didn't have to worry too much about your face, but you couldn't use any of those tools when you were just boxing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, the great thing about kickboxing is if I'm kicking you, you can't hit me. And the bad thing about boxing, usually if you can hit me, I can hit you, and that's the problem. And that's why they call it a sweet science. There is a science to it. Now, for me, I started working with Bill Wallace later on. I know you came up to the school to work with Mr. Wallace, and Bill Wallace has a fantastic philosophy, and his way of fighting really is amazing. And in fact, I think today he would do really well if he was in his prime in the MMA world, because no one could take him down, and no one could get close to him. So I used my sidekick much like he did. However, I turned a little forward, more like a boxer. So that was a little rougher on me, because I usually relied on my head once I got inside the pocket, which is not what you want to do. You want to work your defense a little better.
Yeah, and people can see these fights, which are fantastic to see. I mean, if you think that heavyweight boxing is exciting, see men this size and weight with the kicking also. I mean, this is. You talk about the power that you can generate with a punch. Talk about the power you can generate with some of these kicks, and the speed that you see, and just amazing athletes to watch. And on Kevin's YouTube channel, it looks like he's posted several of these fights, and probably be adding more of these over time. Tell us a little bit about your business philosophy. I was impressed and curious that you actually have 3 martial arts schools, all in what would be considered a smaller town, Greenville, Spartanburg area. Tell us about that. I mean, some people might have told you, hey, look, this is a small town. You just have one school and you build it up, and that's kind of as far as it goes. Not only do you have 3 schools, you also have additional income coming in from this program you have on stretching, and I don't know what else you're doing, but a lot of martial arts people are not businessmen or businesswomen. They're kind of into the art, and they love the art. In fact, I had one master I trained under, and he didn't even bill people. He just said he was from Korea, and he said, James, they know they owe me money, and they will pay me when they can. And he ended up going out of business. I really felt bad for him, but he didn't even have billing set up. He just had like a little box, and you would come in and put your money in. He would ask you what you could afford to pay for you, and if you had a family, how much could you afford? And he would say, okay, that sounds fair. And he would shake your hand, and he would show you the box on his desk, and you would just come in on the first of the month, your first training of the month, and put your money in the box. And that was it. And it just didn't work out well for him. I'm sad to say. It sounds like it would have if people were more honest. But how did you develop kind of the business side of things? I know you have a degree in business, but not 3 locations in a small town. Tell us about all that.
Well, the thing about martial artists, Jim, is, most of them start a martial arts school, not because they're a business person, but because they're a martial artist first. Okay, so these guys grow up like you or I, and they fall in love with the training. They love kicking and punching, and then next thing you know, they say, hey, this would be great to teach, and I could actually make a living doing this. And yes, you can. However, if you don't incorporate business systems right out of the gate, you're going to run into a lot of problems.
And we'll stop it right there, and we'll pick it up after this break. Our final segment will continue to talk about the business systems that Kevin Hudson used when he started his martial arts school. Now 3 locations and selling information products and doing other things. Really as great of a businessman as he was a fighter. All of that in his book, You Can Hit the Mark. We'll be right back. Hi, this is radio talk show host Jim Paris. And if you are like me, you hate all of those monthly bills. Well, I reached the point about 3 years ago that I decided enough was enough, and I went to war with my personal stack of monthly bills. I canceled cable TV and legally connected my television to the internet, and now I get hundreds of free TV channels, and I don't pay for cable TV. I found a little-known way of getting free home phone service for life, and I discovered a totally legal way to opt out of Obamacare and cut my health insurance bill by more than 60% per year. If you want to learn more about my personal war on monthly bills, check out my website, ChristianMoneyPlus.com. That's ChristianMoneyPlus.com. If you're just plain sick and tired of those monthly bills, check out my website, ChristianMoneyPlus.com.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
There is an affordable alternative to the high cost of healthcare that offers freedom from insurance while providing compliance with the Obamacare mandate. Imagine having access to quality, affordable healthcare that allows you the freedom to choose your doctor and hospital. Members can share up to 100% of necessary medical expenses, including alternative treatments. Find out how you and your family can contain healthcare costs without giving up your freedom. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. A General Steel building can save you as much as half the cost and time of similar conventional construction. And we're offering rebates of up to $20,000 to help you build today. Call General Steel for free information that could save you thousands. Call 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Vaping enthusiasts, head to VaporPalace.com. Choose from over 150 flavors and a selection of exclusive private stock vapor liquid you won't find anywhere else. New flavors are added every month, and our customer service is unbeatable. VaporPalace.com offers 15% off all vapor liquid on Fridays and get 10% off every order with coupon code VAPOR10 at checkout. Combine the codes on Fridays for 25% off. The ultimate destination for the vaping enthusiast. VaporPalace.com.
You're listening to Jim Paris Live.
Our final segment with Kevin Hurricane Hudson, the book You Can Hit the Mark, his websites, kevinhurricanehudson.com, splitsin90days.com. Reading from the introduction here, have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what is my purpose here on earth? Have you ever thought you had it figured out when something happened that totally derailed the entire plan you thought was laid out for you? How do you handle this? What steps do you take? I'm sure you've asked these questions and tried your best to decipher God's plan when you weren't sure which way to go. I have too, and hopefully through these colorful events depicted in this book, you can better understand why things maybe aren't turning out the way you had originally planned. And that's exactly how this book reads. It's really a series of life lessons, and the backdrop are these stories of the fights, his fight career. This would be a great gift book for a dad, for someone that you love who maybe is interested in boxing or the martial arts. A very, very inspirational book. And just before the break, Kevin, we were talking about your business system. You've got 3 schools in a small town. I bet you somebody said to you, hey, that's a risk signing up for 3 leases for 3 locations. You should just maybe try to do this in one location. Tell us how that happened, that you ended up with 3 different locations. I mean, this isn't like New York having 3 locations, which wouldn't be surprising, but Greenville, and you have 3 locations that are thriving. And one of your locations that I was at was absolutely huge. So give us kind of the history of how that came to be.
Well, in 1992, Jim, I basically bought the karate school I had grown up in. The gentleman that had owned it at the time, he just wasn't putting the time in to make it work. And I bought it and took it over January 92. I had 2 students, my brother Shannon and one other guy. And so there we were. And just started teaching. And then in 1994, the building that you came to do the seminar, that is the building I moved the business to in 1994. So we've been in that one location since 94, and it's not the most demographically gifted area. However, through the past over 2 decades, 25 years or so, we've provided a good product. We've improved people's lives through martial arts training, added benefit to the community, and just, we thrive because we care about what we're doing. We're trying to help people's lives. We're not just punching and kicking. We're trying to be good people. So that's important. And in 2005, we opened up a second location. My brother and I actually worked together at the time. We opened up a second location in Taylor's, which is about 9 miles down the road, more toward the Greenville area. We opened that location up, which is still running, and then we opened up another one over in Greenville off of Woodruff Road, which is a little more about 9 miles away. So we kind of make a triangle with our 3 schools. And the bottom line is you got to give a good product. You got to care about people. People, as you know, people they don't care how much you know. They want to know how much you care. And just like you said, when you come to our academy, I know you took the initiative to come all the way from Florida to do a seminar at our school, and we appreciate that. And that shows gumption, that shows tact, that shows you want to improve your martial arts skills. So we appreciate that. So everybody that shows up, we got a 3-step rule. If you walk 3 steps in the door, somebody better greet you before you get in that door 3 steps, because that's important. How many businesses have you been to that you walk in and you don't know where to go or what to do because nobody tells you?
Yeah, I always do that. We have people that just see the school that I train at, and I'm like a substitute teacher because I don't have time to teach full time, but I fill in there. But we have a big window out to the boulevard, and one of the fortunate things is we have a bridge that opens up every hour on the hour, and all these cars are stuck and they're watching us in the window. So we're putting on a show for them when we have class, and it's just funny how people walk in, and I didn't even give folks a phone number tonight to call in with questions or emails, but people are emailing. Here's an email from one of our listeners in Chicago. They said their entire life that they have wanted to train the martial arts. They're in their 40s now, and there's so many different martial arts you can go into. And then there's the MMA, where, you're grappling and so forth. And every martial art says they're the best. How does a person pick a martial art? And then how do you pick a school to go with? Because there's so many choices, especially like this listener who's in Chicago must have thousands of schools to choose from.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Chicago is a huge city. There's a lot of martial arts schools. I've got some friends up there, but here's the deal. All martial arts schools are going to say they're the greatest, and number one, you're never too old to start. My mother, I actually haven't told you this, but my mother, you may have met her. She was at the seminar.
I did meet her. She was sitting off to the sideline there.
Yeah. Well, she participated in that whole seminar. She's 71 years old, and she participated in that whole seminar. She started martial arts training at age 59, and now she's 71, and she's a third-degree black belt. And,
wow.
Now, here's the way I look at it. My mom, is she Bruce Lee? No. But did she improve her life through doing martial arts? Absolutely. She's better healthy. She's better confident. She has better communication skills. She actually works with me in the evening doing some administrative things. So she's an asset to our business as well. But this gentleman in Chicago, I always tell people, go to the schools, visit all these karate schools, martial arts schools. They will let you do a free trial class. If they won't, don't go to them. But all of them will. So you go in there, you do an introductory lesson with these guys, you work with the instructor that they put you with, get a feel for what they're doing, check their background. I'll be honest with you, Jim, this world is not getting any easier, and the fact that nobody ever checks my background is kind of unnerving to me. People are leaving their kids with me, and nobody ever checks.
Yeah, and now with like the internet, with these review sites and all that, it's really easy to get a little bit of information, about what is your view on the school that I'm involved with now. He's a real, he's got the automatic billing and everything set up, and people can sign up for like a 6-month or a 1-year agreement. But we're seeing a lot of schools now going to where they're bringing students in like right away with a 5-year contract and maybe $500 in equipment on day one and a lot of money. And those people, their argument is, hey, we're making money, we're prospering, we can do more with a lot of money that we have. And there's still the old school that says, yeah, but let's not go too far into that kind of world where it's like the old days of the health clubs, where they're signing you up for like the 10-year health club membership. How do you view that? Because there's all these martial arts business seminars going and trying to get people to get into these kinds of systems.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the deal. I've been teaching for 25 years, and, life has gotten so busy for people. So my competition is not necessarily other martial arts schools. It's time. There's only one 6 o'clock hour every night that Mommy can have little Johnny in the karate class. And little Johnny wants to do soccer, baseball, football, whatever he wants to do. So I'm battling that. So when I do sign up a member, I want to sign them up for 6 months right out of the gate, just to try it for 6 months. Because in 6 months, you realize if martial arts training is for you or it's not for you. Now, I understand that there are schools that sign people up on huge long-term contracts, which, that's all well and good for them. I want to keep you because you love the quality of training and you're getting benefits out of martial arts. That's the bottom line. I want you to enjoy what you do. I want martial arts to complement your life, not compromise your life. And if somebody's locked into a 10-year contract and they're hating it and they don't want to go, you can make kids go, and sometimes you need to make them go, because if you don't make them, when life gets tough, you can't just let them give up. It frustrates me sometimes when parents just let the kids say, he don't want to do it no more. That's a little frustrating. There's a time in my life when I didn't want to do it either, but you got to go through that.
It's like when my parents bought the trumpet for me. They said, "Now you better stick with this because we just bought a trumpet." So that was kind of a veiled threat. Like, look, you need to stay with us. But with a minute left, there's so much in this book, and our time has gone by so quickly. Tell people, who is this book for, and what will people get out of this book? I could imagine this book being tremendous for young people. Anybody that's struggling in life, trying to find a purpose, find a direction. Right. Give us your thoughts on that.
My first initial thought, Jim, when I wrote this book was it was for the guy that was 35 to 45 that thought maybe he missed a calling of what God really wanted him to do because some dream or goal that he had did not turn out the way he wanted it. So this is to let him know, hey, God's not finished yet. There's something else out there. And then I had a buddy of mine call me at a local bookstore who's having this book on their shelf. He called me and said, hey, this would be great for teens in school to help them find their way. And so, it could be. Yeah,
it's almost a book for anybody, and maybe there'll be an audio version of it. Maybe you can come out with a journal where people can keep a daily journal based on the information. A lot of great things can come from this. I admire you so much, Kevin Hurricane Hudson. Thank you so much for being with us, sir. And remember, folks, if it's Sunday night, it's Jim Paris Live. We'll talk to you next week. Hello, everybody. This is radio talk show host Jim Paris for FreeSurvivalGifts.com. If you're a survival buff like me and like to try out the latest survival gear and gadgets, then you're going to absolutely love FreeSurvivalGifts.com. At FreeSurvivalGifts.com, you will find a wide array of survival gear, books, and videos that are all 100% free. That's right, just pay your own shipping. Now, I know you're asking, why is all of this survival gear free? Well, the companies offering this gear are doing so as a way to promote their brand and introduce new products. Check it out today, FreeSurvivalGifts.com. Pick up one or more free survival items for you and your family. That website again is FreeSurvivalGifts.com. Check it out, FreeSurvivalGifts.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At ContractorExam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, ContractorExam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.ContractorExam.com today.
You've been hearing Dr. Wallach talking about 90 essential nutrients, keeping the body healthy. GCNteam.com now has Beyond Tangy Tangerine tablets, 60 plant-derived minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, packed in a powerful tablet. But that's not it. 160,000 auric points, a knockout punch to free radicals. Call 877-878-4203 or go to GCNteam.com. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.